Hello everyone, just give me a minute while I set some stuff up on my end. Alright, so this is going to be my first demo test of seeing how far we can get along with this. This is the Odin battle cruiser from Star Citizen, and kind of like what I've seen with some of the other people out there online, I'm going to try to see if I can't reset the model into its basic guns closed, and then hopefully in the next week or so we'll start getting some proposals of what the interior will look like. We've already seen what the main cannon will look like inside, and we'll start to 3D model and see if we can keep a pace with the development. So let's get started. Right away the file came in kind of like how it shows up in game. So I'm gonna go ahead and tune some settings in the game or in the program so that we can actually see this model fairly well. So you see it's already kind of rotated and spun around and stuff. So the first task here is to zero out all the rotations. All right, and hopefully the stream doesn't crash along the way. All right, so item rotation. So there is some rotations already applied to the ship, but it does not look, let's see here. There's no active parents, it looks like. Everything's just rotated 90 degrees. If I were to reset rotation, it doesn't seem to be doing too much. So I think we're just gonna have to invent straight. So there we go. And I apologize if the screen blacks out every once in a while. I don't know what's going on with that, but I have a second monitor, and every once in a while it does that. Not quite sure what the bug is. So I got a big box here. I got a line through the center of it, and that's going to help me pick two vertices essentially and snap them across that plane, and that should help me take the ship overall and center it. You see this is the origin point, so I'm going to change this up to that, like so. So now we're getting a lot closer. Let's go this, and there we go, screen black again. Gonna have to get that fixed. Something like that. That'll do for a start. And then let's do bounding box. That's fine as long as we get it straight for this start. There we go. So that's mostly straight. And then From here, we're going to have to reset all the origin points. It's just going to destroy a bunch of data, but I think it will be worth it in the end. So let's just move this out of the way for a minute. Select all this again. And then for lucky, perfect. So right here, this point is definitely the perfect center. So we'll select that as the main object and then set cursor to selected. Another black screen. All right, set cursor to selected, and then from there, object set origin. Oh my gosh. Set origin to 3D cursor. Not quite what I wanted. Oh, that's why. Active element. Cursor selected. Object set origin to 3D cursor. There we go. All right, so now that we have that established, we can now take all of this. I should be able. No, I don't want to move that. Location, rotation. Almost there. Not too complicated of a build. And I think there's a cheat where I can force everything to go to 0, but I don't remember what that command was, so we're just going to do it this way. And it looks like I missed one. There we go. Perfect. All right, so now everything's at origin point and everything's at the 0 mark. Now we need to straighten the model one more time. So I should be able to just grab everything except for my cube. We'll do this actually. There we go. So there is now my point in the 0. And then from active element, snap it to, let's see here, to vertex. There we go. All right, now I got to think about how I can rotate this. So I want to rotate it. I'm going to find another point on the back and rotate it relative to that. So what I think I can do, extrude, find the point in the back, separate that, so from cursor to selected, rotate from 3D cursor. That maybe? No. I have to think about this. Alright, I'm going to do a Google search here, guys, to see if I can't figure out a good way of doing this. Because I got my line here, right? Only faces. So, like, I have my line, which is currently the true center. Active element, snap to point. Object. Set origin to 3D cursor. I think I got it. Nope. Almost. Active element. Alright, I'm going to pull this computer monitor off. Prevent the screens from blacking out. So, let's see here. Planes, maybe? From 3D cursor. Yeah, that did it. Not quite what I want, but it's a lot closer. There we go. All right. All right, so now we can do that again. I think I messed up somewhere, but this is a great start. Maybe I messed up here. No, that's such a zero. We'll just lock this out so that doesn't move around on me. So that's where origin should have been. Something's not quite what I intended it to be. See, there's the origin point, this is where the model is, so something got moved. Maybe it's when I did the rotation trick to try to straighten the model out, but that didn't go the way I want it to either, so we'll try one more time. The goal here is to get all the ship cannons and everything kind of squared away instead of rotated all over the place. And that'll give us a clean starting mesh and a kind of good starting position from where we started. Because it kind of, when we got the model, it looked like what it looked like in the, right now in the PTU. And it's got all the guns pointing in all kind of crazy directions. Which isn't wrong or bad, just it's not a good way to start the modeling process. Alright, so I'm going to get rid of this cube for, well, I can hide it. Grab this point right here, cursor to selected, select all, object, set origin to 3D cursor. Now, there should be like a apply all. What was it? Probably shouldn't be showing that. Let's do this on a different screen. Control A, apply. Locations. There we go. No, that's not what we want. set origin to 3 cursor. Now they're all set to that. I think we're just going to do this the old-fashioned way one more time. Oh, there we go. That's a little faster. I don't know why I can't apply it to every object at once, but probably don't want you doing it that way. Well, what if I did this? Nope. Just applies it to the active object. And this one, there we go. All right, then set origin to world origin. We'll bring our cube back on. Beautiful. All right. Mesh plane 90. Scale it up. Actually, we need to do this in model. So we'll go from here. Grab this vertex. There we go. All right, now we got a plane. There we go. There we go. All right, so now we got it in one orientation straightened out. And now we just have to repeat this trick on all of the other planes, which is much easier to do now that we got the first one done. And now that I know what I'm doing again. All right, so we're going to create a plane. We're going to duplicate a vertex. Actually, this might be a little bit harder, just because we need to need to set our, we gotta pick the correct, which would be this one right here. And I think I can just go and extrude. See, now here's the hard part is I need to find a common line across all of this. Let's turn off. Let's see here. Yeah, that's fine for now. We'll figure it out. We'll do it live, as the joke goes. Actually, you know what would probably be easier is to find 2 common points on opposite sides. So if I pick this point, and then I pick this point, so that's how far off angle we are, which is not crazy, but that's what we got to take and snap back into 0. So take the middle of that, grab all of it. Let's do this. We'll snap this to this line. Snap that to that. And then from here, we'll grab everything, bring it down to there. And then grabbing this point, should be able to snap it like that. There we go. All right, so that's two axes that we're now centered. We're now centered on our pivot left to right. We're now centered left to right. So now we just need to do top to bottom, I think. Which is finding a common line that's completely straight on this very much not straight model and laying it out that way. All right, so probably gonna pick like one of these engines because these engines are very straight looking. So we'll grab this object, delete it now that we're done with it. And just grab some more mesh. There we go. And I'm going to say, I don't want that. I don't want any of that. Or any of that. So there's my line. And so now bring it to this point here. Move selection, selection to cursor. Actually, it's selection to cursor, keep it offset. There we go. And that did it. So this is the ship now zeroed out. All rotations, all spins, everything's zeroed out. All right, so get rid of that. I'm going to create a bounding box. And this is just going to help me control the ship in the future when I need to move it around, because I'm going to basically assign everything to this box. Only faces, and then not join, link. Control P, parent. There we go, object. So there. Now when I grab this nice big rectangle, it grabs absolutely everything and everything's in its place. All right, so let's save this file real quick. Save as. All right, so ODIN out. There we go. All right, and then we're going to take this collection and duplicate selection. Let's see here. Move to collection 01. Oh, I already had it in there. So delete. Or maybe I didn't. Let's find out. There we go. So that's the original. This is, all right, so let's call this original, and this is going to be guns. All right, so kind of the same way how I made a parent box for the overall ship, we're going to do the same thing with each of like the guns and whatnot. You can see right now the guns are kind of connected into the same object, but then I go to another barrel, for instance, here, and they are not in the same block. So what I'm going to do here is I might even just merge every mesh into one object and then go from there and split it back out. And then I can just use my reference block object over here whenever I think I went too far. But that way, because like what my end goal here for at least this session is to take this gun here and every gun like it and have it pointing forward. And in a gun case like this one where it's clear it's meant to hide inside of this tube, then close it out that way. I'm not worried about animations just yet. I might get there one day. But for today's session, it's just zeroing out the model so that moving forward, we have a clean day zero start model that we can work with. So that's the goal for today. All right, so let's just join these two and go back to this mode. And it looks like I still have another. I might have a triple here. Yeah, I have a triple. All right. And then what's this? And then what is this? All right, so that one looks okay. So something got messed up. We're just going to delete all of that, and these three as well. There. All right. Original, duplicate. There we go. All right. Guns. Try again. And then from here we can take this collection. Oh boy. Hide it. So that's the original. We're going to hide that. Guns. Zero it out as well. And there we go. Save up. So to grab every object in this gun, I have to pick up like half of the entire ship. So that's kind of the problems that we got to fix today. So I'm going to grab this, move it up by 150 units. Let's go another 150 so it's out of our way. And then from here, we can grab everything about this main turret. And let's go vertex like so. Is X-ray mode messing with stuff? There we go. There we go. Now we're grabbing everything. It's a good model. There's a lot to work with here. Of course, it's concept art modeling, so it's not exactly the end state of where the design will be, but it's a great start for our use case. Okay, there's a little bit more up in here. Gotta deselect. And I'm not trying to merge the vertices just yet, as that can cause problems trying to separate meshes that should not have been merged in the first place. So yeah, now we can take all this, separate by selection, and let's go another 50 meters. Looks like we got a little more ways to go. There we go. So that looks like that's the entire cannon. So from there, I want to grab all of this. See if I can't grab cursor just selected. That appears to be a good 0 point that I can assign all this to. So we're going to join and then set object, set origin to 3D cursor, and then move it back down 15. And so now that gun is its own object. You know, I could do the basic rotation, but that's not where we're going to be ending up at the end of all of this. But for now, this is a great start. All right, so now let's look at the next gun. That'd be this gun here. And 300 units. And this gun seems to be much better separated from the rest of the objects in this file. So we'll go from there. Now there's just a little bit of this stuff to pull away. Move it up out of our way for just a minute. Make sure we are not grabbing anything that doesn't belong to this. Looks good, so let's disconnect it. And shoot, my brain went blank. There we go, P by selection. All right, and then same trick as before. We'll grab 2 parts or 2 points I'm happy with, here and here. Cursor to selection. Oops. Control J. Object set origin to 3D cursor. Nope. Set origin to 3D cursor. And I could bring it back down 350. Down 350. There we go. This can go down 300. This one seems to take up the majority. So I'm looking at this side cannon right here, and it's actually built into the main frame of the ship a lot more than the other turrets. So I think I'm going to leave it for later to come back around. This ship truly has an insane amount of cannons on it. And it also looks like it has some VSS tubes, kind of like what the Ironclad looks like it might be having as well, which is very interesting. You know, first time for everything kind of deal. And yeah, that's a lot of weird geometry hiding out in there, but we'll bring that along. So let's separate this lower cannon now, I think. And honestly, at this point, it's not even worth trying to brain the ship. Try to, you know, play it smart. We're just gonna have to edit everything all at once to try to grab enough. The interior of the ship is basically hollow. There's nothing really for us to glean in terms of what rooms are in the vehicle. All we can hope for is that in the upcoming days, as they start to sell the ship, that they provide some artwork for us to start modeling on our own. But this is going to be kind of a shot in the dark for probably most of the development. Alright, so I think I got most of it, if not all of it. It looks pretty clean. So if I move this down 50, perfect, look at that. Alright, so P by selection. Control J. There we go. No. Cursor selected. Object. Set origin. Origin to 3 cursor. And I'll keep this gun out of the way, and I'll work on this gun right here next. Which actually, most of it's already in its own object, which is sweet. I think I did that right. Yep, that looks clean. And a couple loose vertices right here. Beautiful. Selection. How many objects do I got? Only one object? No. Yeah? No, yeah, there's several objects here. All right. Object set. Precursor. There we go. That's those two ships assigned now. Or 2 turrets. Uh-oh. No, I think we got that geometry. We're good. That looks clean. Sometimes it doesn't like it when I choose deselect over select. Alright, now if I lift this up, nope, still got some more stuff to remove. And 1 or 2 more points. That one, and that appears to be, where are you? Right here, this one? There we go. There we go. Alright. Same as before. Separate. I don't think, yeah, I gotta do, don't need the box. Join it. Cursor to selected. Thankfully they made things easy, like with this X right here. It makes it really easy for me to choose where I want an origin point to be. And that will probably be the pivot point as well, which again just makes my life a whole lot easier. So objects, object, origin 2, 3, cursor. There we go. So that's where we're at so far. I was really curious. These are turrets. I do not understand how or why, but they have these weird turrets on the sides. So, calling all ships that can... The bridge is battle ready. Alright, 1 second. I'm going to be right back. I'm going to get some more water. Alright, and I'm back. Let's carry on. Some torpedo tubes, it looks like. A bunch of radar domes. Which is hilarious because like the golf ball dome is a very old way of doing radar tech these days, I believe. Alright. And it's weird too with like this gun, there's absolutely no pivot other than up and down. Which means that whatever it's targeting has to be exactly in its angle, or that the shell, the projectile fired, has some sort of aiming capability in it. These parts are a little bit harder because where the other ones I could deselect all the mesh I didn't want. These being so much closer together, I kind of need to do it the other way around, where I select only the mesh that I want, which makes my job a little bit harder because there's a lot of geometry of other things that I don't care about right now. But we'll get there. Actually, from this angle, things look really easy. But yeah, like right there, I just grabbed a bunch of geometry I do not want to grab. But I have no choice in grabbing it for the moment. I want to do some cleanup. So like here's some, there we go, got rid of that one. And I might do some mirroring where I only work on one side of the ship and then we'll delete half and repeat, because it looks like the ship is very symmetrical, so what's on the left is on the right. There isn't any asymmetry in the design. So if I focus my efforts on just one half of the ship, I can then effectively delete the other half and then mirror the ship and essentially do twice the amount of work at once. Alright, so what happens when I try to pull this thing apart? It's going to grab a lot of geometry that I don't want it to grab. So let's see if how much I can disconnect without having to do too much work. So I got a try point right here. There you are. There. And then another one on the opposite side right here. This one's buried. This one's buried deep. This is going to take a lot of zooming around. There we go. That's better. And then it looks like I'm missing some geometry. Coming on in. That looks better. Don't want that, any of that, or, whoa. Come on. Any of that, it looks like. But we do want this geometry, actually. Don't want that. That's the geometry I don't want. And then I'm missing one more right there. Okay, getting close. Don't want that piece. Missing some geometry right here that I need to grab. Right here. That's a big one. And then actually, oh, what did I just do? Okay, so there is a disc right here. There's a giant disc that we're gonna need. There we go. So maybe this turret will, maybe it's only half deployed. Maybe it rises out of the ship an extra foot or two, and then it can pivot from there. So I can demonstrate as soon as I finish pulling out the mesh. we want all of that. There's another point up here that I don't want. This one right here. And then I don't want to grab that disk just yet. I'm actually going to put that on its own object layer, I think. Just so that it's easier to control in the future. But I need to find the piece that I'm missing right now because I'm grabbing something that, yeah, see there's a lot of extra geometry. There it is. There we go. That's what I wanted. At least that's some of it. Yeah, it was only some of it. So that connects. It's a little tricky when you're in holographic mode like this. You know what? We're just going to have to grab all of it. And then we can pull it out later. That looks pretty good. Missing some geometry right here. There we go, finally separated. So that's all what was hidden underneath. It's not just the cannon and the mechanism here to hide the barrel, but there's also a round turret to allow the cannon to rotate. So I would think if we go ahead and merge these objects real quick. This is going to be a little bit weirder, I think, because this circle is not easy. For now, I'm just going to ignore the origin point and we'll come back to it later. But if I bring it back down to 50, I wouldn't be surprised if it's designed to actually come up, you know, 2-3 meters like that. And then it's capable of rotating on its own. So yeah, we'll play around with that later. So again, like this can right here, I'm going to ignore it. We just did it on the right. I'm only going to focus on the right side here. And then once I have all of that split apart, I'm going to divide the model in half. With probably, there might be a few exceptions like this ball. This geometry does not mirror well. So we'll probably keep that as a unique object that we place on top and is not part of the main build, if that makes sense. So on to the next tedious one. So that's 100% of the geometry, and I can actually get rid of a lot. But I do need all of that still. Alright, so that's all of it. Now we just deselect what we don't want. was this point right there. Let's but I think I still want some of this. There we go. I hope this is reasonably viewable. I know the wireframe mode can make it kind of trippy to look at, because I'm zooming around here a lot. Get rid of that point, that point, that point. Alright, almost there. Only a few more things left. This one right here. Oh, and some stuff in the front, it looks like. Not sure where though. Oh, middle back, right here. Here it is. It looks like I have one point that I do need. There we go. Nice and separated. And same problem as the other one. This circle geometry is a bit of a problem, but when I go and set the program to merge faces, it should make it a lot easier. Some large holes. It's not really clear if this is a aircraft carrier, like hangar access. I'm not sure if this ship is capable of carrying any ships. Alright, so we got that. So let's do some of these smaller turrets up front. And I'll probably break them both at the same time and then separate them from each other after that. Oh, and then there's these guns back here, so there's 8 of them. Yay, yay, yay. Alright. Let's grab a good snip right there. Of course, we don't want any of our other guns or anything else. It's interesting because these guns actually go pretty far deep into the ship. I'm pretty sure it looks like anyway. We'll have to separate the mesh further to find out for sure what we got. Now if I do a trick like this and then go back to that, even do this. Don't know if I should have done that or not, but it seems to deselect a lot of mesh that I don't want, so I'll play that around as a trick for a minute. And if I pull, yeah, so like if I pull all of this with it, I think that'd be a good idea. Just not sure where to stop as much as where to start. Because that side has it too, but it looks like it's different geometry, so that might actually be, this stuff right here might actually be part of the ship. I mean, the turret, it's only from here up. I kind of want to bring this geometry with it. This is kind of sitting on a pedestal of sorts, but I don't want this geometry with it. Yeah, I think I'm not in the right spot. I think we just need to grab the turrets themselves, and then we can play with the platforms another day. So we'll separate all of this out. There we go. That's pretty clean. Bring that up. So that left turret is now completely separated. And then I'm going to do it to this turret as well. I'm going to keep them together for the minute. And then we'll break them apart from each other after that. And I have to go into X-ray mode because a lot of this geometry is not actually connected. So if I try to select, and then sometimes the computer's just not registering me holding down shift, and that's why I gotta like do the same step 5 times. Alright, getting close. One more, it looks like, right here. There we go. And that's 2 more turrets and 50 meters. At least in whatever it came in converted as. 50 meters is not quite enough, so we'll go another 50 meters on top. Selection. Alright, that's those 2 turrets separated. Let's do these turrets in the back now. And these should be just as easy, really. In fact, I can grab most of it right here. Without too much effort. That's one. And one more. There we go. Let's see how we did. Oh, missed something. This one right here. And there we go. Take these two. Selection. There we go. All right. And that should, we still have this turret up on the control tower. And then we have this gun here, this gun here, and then that should be it. That should be most of the guns. And most of these guns seem to sit inside of a shell. So once I've separated the shell out, it's... Let's see... Oh, you know what? This gun has a lot more geometry to it than I first thought. Because it comes all the way back here. There we go. So if I try separating it, it's still a lot that I need to disconnect, but it's a much bigger connection to the ship than I first thought. So that got that. I think I still need that. And then there's still something that doesn't belong in here yet. So this does belong, which means this goes with it. And then that means this doesn't. Which means, all right, so that's... That is interesting. So, a lot of geometry up here, it looks like. Needs to be grabbed. Which means this point right there. I'm not quite sure about this one. There seems to be like a double shell, if that makes sense, going on here. And I need to figure out which one is the one that belongs to the ship and which one belongs to the cannon array. And I think I've over-selected. Like, I think this area right here is part of the ship. Which would mean, like, all of that should be... Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. Alright. Alright. So this should all go away. Which means all of this can stay back as well. I'm missing... I want that one, and I want that one. There we go. Again, that might be connected too. No. That'd be all of this. There we go. That's cleaner. Still got too much, but that's this mess down here. Come on, there we go. Yeah, this one's a complicated one. I'm glad I can just mirror it and only have to do it once. Okay, where was that? Was this right? Here, yeah. Is it this? Getting closer. Right here. Here we go. Here's the other side of the bucket that I was missing. But I do want this guy right here. There we go. Almost there. Just a few more points. this guy right here. A few guys underneath here, it looks like. I see you. That's these right here. Not sure what's going on right here. Ah, right there, those 2 points. Hey, I think I got it. We'll go sideways with this one. Man, that one was tough. You can see there's the inner containment, but then there's also all of this extra bevel that's in the green, essentially. So you have 2 separate objects that look like they could be part of the cannon mesh, and in this case they just simply aren't. So join that mesh and pick that point as its origin object, set origin to 3D cursor. Alright, so that's another gun separated. And then there's just this one down here, which is basically the exact same thing. And that should be the last gun. At least the last turreted weapon. I mean, there's probably torpedo pods. It's a little hard to see exactly which items are which could be. Like, we got these what looks to me like, I mean, you could put torpedoes there. It's a little weird to have in the center mass of the ship, though. They could also be side thrusters. I mean, these definitely look more side thruster to me. These tubes cut right through the ship, so I don't think they're anything. And I think these are your most likely torpedo exit points. Alright, let's get on to that last one. I'm going to move these down out of the way a little bit more. Don't want to hit them by accident when I'm doing this. And actually, this is going to be easier because I can grab the geometry this way and then start to clean up. I need all of this and make sure we get absolutely everything. You don't want to miss it. It's easier to remove than to add when you're not sure. Alright, now we start removing. So this geometry is not ours. It is almost certainly not ours. Well, I'll take this quick moment to say, if you guys like to subscribe, leave a like, leave any feedback or ideas you might have, any questions you might have. I'd love to explore the ship with you guys. Let's leave this geometry out. And this is a little bit hard, so I think what we're going to do is we're going to call all of this out, but then reintroduce, I don't know, like, let's see. So I think that is unique, that's unique. Come on. I said shift. There we go. Still a little bit more to grab back. I think we do want that. Getting closer now. Okay, so actually all of this geometry can go, but this geometry right here and right there, that stays. Oh, that's interesting. There's like a half tube hidden in here for some reason. I don't know why that's there, but there's like some extra, something extra got thrown in there somehow at some point. Is it there on the other side? I'm looking at the right gun. I don't see it on the left side. Maybe I wonder if I did something by accident. We'll keep moving. Try to get this done. Alright, I know I want this point and that point, and everything connected to that is the real deal. So like all of this is fake. Mm, no, actually, I think that is part of it. But then it's also there on the top as well. It's very strange. You're not going with. And you're. Alright, I'll be right back, guys. I'm going to click save here. Okay, I'm back, guys. Let's see. Just saw some comments come in. How big are the hangers? It's not clear that there are hangers. If there are, these three are the most likely position for them. And I don't have any other game assets loaded right now, so I couldn't put a size metric to it, other than I don't think that's the point of this ship. I know it's a big ship, but I don't think its point is to carry ships. Like, you should be going to your Bengal class carriers for that. So I'm sure it might be able to carry a few small fighters, but you know, your real fleet force is going to be the escort that comes with this ship. And really, you know, if you compare it to modern day ships, modern day ships are based around the carrier, and really this ship is just there to defend and keep other ships away while the carrier does its job. But yeah, I mean, they could definitely be hangars. It's just it's a very strange door. I've never seen this kind of door in all of Star Citizen so far. At the same time, this is Aegis's first capital-sized ship, I believe. So there's a lot of very strange, kind of somewhat alien to us, the players, design language, as we've just never seen this layout before. All right, so let's try to get this darn thing done. It's the last freaking cannon, and it's holding out the hardest. Yeah, I agree. There does seem to be a lot of really, like, there was not much armaments on the bottom other than the super cannon, and I think that's kind of the point, is that for gameplay purposes they want all their ships really to have a weak point where fighters and torpedo bombers and whatnot can have an opportunity to engage. If the ship is perfectly balanced on every side, then there's no point in attacking it at that point. Like, what's the use? At the same time, of course, you also don't want to be buying a ship that has nothing but weak sides. So I don't know. And with this, the way how you have to buy this ship and all is very confusing, to me at least. Like, why? So like, I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, this could be the meta end game of all game ships, intentionally overpowered just so that it's that purchasable, golly, I'm trying to think how I'm going to do this, because this is not how I like doing it. I'm thinking about duplicating and deleting, which is not ideal. But I'm just not, I'm missing something huge here. Yeah, well, and truth be told, even now, like, modern ships are going towards drones for their aircraft, right? We already have in the Navy, the U.S. Navy has a Navy drone that could be used to refuel ships or refuel aircraft. So. There's already been a lot of beta work on trying to get a aircraft to fly itself. That's probably very close, at least as a wingman, if not taking over the main pilot, so we're never putting people in harm's way ever again. But yeah, and you know what? That could maybe these are not hangars. Maybe they're drone launchers. Like, really, that way the crew do not have to leave the ship to defend it. You could just launch a bunch of little snub drones and control them from that. Never seen that done in Star Citizen yet, but one could imagine. Alright, so I'm going to duplicate this. I don't like doing this trick because it takes just as much time, but to separate it now. But this is where you never see that geometry. That's so weird. Feels like I'm missing just one vertex, and then the whole thing will come free. Look at the other cannon real quick. See, it's this perfectly flat top. Does not have much geometry on the inside, whereas this one seems to have a lot of geometry on the inside. Bane, I do not have any other Star Citizen assets saved to my computer right now, so I can't bring any other ships for comparison for scaling yet. In a future episode, I'd like to to set up a whole scene and whatnot. But for today, the goal is just to get these cannons and weapons separated from the main body. And if you were to scroll to the very start of the stream, what I got for the ship was how you see it in game as a hologram with all the guns splayed in all kinds of different directions, and that's fine. But for what I would like to do long term on this project, I'm trying to get everything reset to kind of state 0. There we go. Getting closer. There we are. And then right here. I swear I've been circling this problem for 40 minutes now. Feels like. Hey, that looks pretty darn good. Let's pull this out, see if I missed anything. No, that's it. Goodness gracious. Now there's this geometry right here that I'm not sure about. Let's but there seems to be some on that side, and as far as I can tell, this looks fairly complete. No, there's something. Yeah, this mesh is supposed to be part of it, I think. So let's bring it out. I'm not too sure about this part, guys. This might not belong. It's probably the dirtiest part of the model that I've just not been able to get a clean grip on. Alright, missing that vert. And then all of this geometry right here. Okay, that's fine. There's some more up here that I'm missing. That'll be this right here, I think. Hey, there we go. Yeah, there we go. So that was a lot of it right there. That's a lot of the geometry that's missing. I still don't know what this thing right here is. This tube here is unique on this side. I don't know how that got there. But it's now separated, so any victory that I can take. No, sorry, I wanted need to split this piece, separate selection. There we go. Join it. Cursor to selected. Object, set origin to 3D cursor. All right. All right, all right. Just for size, we talked about that. The tube is on the other side. All right, so I'm referring to this right here. And yes, the gun is on the other side. I completely agree with you on that. However, I do not see that shallow depression, that cutout in the geometry. In fact, oh wait, it's way inside. Oh yeah, it is. Yeah, there it is. I see it now. It's this right here. Okay, it was there. It's just hard to see. Interestingly, you know, this whole lower section, yeah, it's to hold these cannons. What is it? That's 350. Sure, it's to hold these cannons, but it almost looks like a dropship, or not a dropship, but you know, it can pull itself away from the body of the vehicle. These tubes run across the front. Of course, you're missing, you know, side, up, down, left, right thrusters. Exhaust for the guns. I mean, yeah, like it's a different shape than the rest of the main thrusters. So you're not wrong, but I don't know. And they're kind of scaled badly in comparison to the size of the guns. I mean, this large gun at the bottom is not really any bigger. Let's put them next to each other real quick. Yeah, see, they're not really any. It's not any bigger. It's basically the same gun as what's on top, and what's on top, you know, I mean, I don't see it in terms of, you know, what you're saying, exhaust. But in the sneak peek photo that I don't have up, this giant cylinder is the storage for all that ammo. So the scale of this ship truly is massive. So that's the ship put back. Oh, completely forgot about this turret up here. Let's go take care of this real quick. And this is very much like the hammerhead style, where the gun rotates out and probably stores very deeply into this geometry. And then when it deploys, it probably does this fancy unfolding. Let's talk about the small tube on the side guns. I'll look back at that later. Alright, so let's just separate probably from here over. That looks, oh, a little bit more, a little bit more. Don't want any of that or that. Oh, I see it, here. That one's a problem, and here's its cousin. There, perfect. Other way. And then for this, I think I'm just going to set the origin point to be right there. Object, origin point to 3D cursor. Perfect. Alright, so that is every gun on this side of the ship completed. Next session, I think we will work on setting all of their origin points, or all their rotation points, to 0, so they're all facing forward. And then after that, we'll split the model in half and start white boxing. I'm hoping that by the end of the next week we can get some extra sneak peeks of what the interior might look like and start mapping out rooms and go from there. All right, thanks guys. See you around. Some extra sneak peeks of what the interior might look like and start mapping out